is a review of the brand new LEGO Jurassic World Rebirth set, Jurassic Park Raptor Off-Road Escape. This set just released on June 1st, 2025, so about a month and a half late, but that's alright. This is set number 76972 with 285 pieces, 3 minifigures, and 1.5 dinosaurs. For 285 pieces, this thing comes in at a whopping $45 Canadian, $35 US. All you price per piece warriors are going to be really mad with that one. Although we do have to keep in mind there's always a dinosaur tax in these sets. First, I want to go through the minifigures really quick. Ruben Delgado is the dad in the movie, and he has some pretty good leg printing, accurate hair and mustache, 2 faces, and this kind of boring shirt, but it is pretty accurate and it does have a little bit of back print. Next we have Isabella Delgado. The legs are pretty boring, but what do you really expect with a minifigure like this? It is a cool backpack with a little bit of back printing on the back. The hairpiece is long, so I guess it's pretty accurate in that regard. I mean, what else do you expect? She also has kind of a calm expression and then a scared expression on the other side. We have Dolores, which this is kind of a minifigure, like a baby minifigure of a baby Aquilops, which I'm going to pretend I got that right on the first try. And honestly, this thing looks pretty good for what it is. I mean, there's not much you can do with a sculpt this small, but honestly, I think they did a pretty good job on this. Overall, it's a pretty fun addition, and I mean, like, come on, if you've seen the movie, you knew this thing was going to be in some sort of LEGO set at some point. And if you actually compare it to the real-life images, well, real life, from the movie, it actually looks really close, so there's that too. Finally, we've got this Velociraptor. It's a different mold from the classic LEGO Raptors, especially the ones that came out in the original Jurassic World sets. It's pretty much just a recolor of the Atrociraptor, if anyone remembers that from the old Dominion sets. I'm not going to compare because, to be honest with you, I don't own any of those, so I couldn't compare it if I wanted to. Having said that, the recolor is pretty good, and I really like this blue. It shines out pretty well, especially in light like this. Now we'll get into what everyone else is kind of waiting to see, which is the actual set itself. First, this is kind of set of bushes, or this grassland hideout. I think it's a bush, but you can call it what you want. The intention of this play feature is that you can put this raptor right on top by these 2 studs, front and back foot, and then you can slide this mechanism, which I'll show you in a second, and it'll pop out of the bushes and scare whoever's going by. This is the mechanism it uses underneath. It's basically just these 2 spinning kind of rotor pieces. It just attaches by these little studs, and it pushes it back and forth by using those. This Velociraptor isn't the only thing that fits on here. You can actually put a bunch of different things on here. Like, you could put a minifigure, or you can put Rhoda the Hutt, which is pretty menacing if you ask me. The thing you can do with the classic Jurassic World sets from 2015 is if you take one of the legs off any of these raptors, 1 foot actually fits right in there, and then you've got a pretty scary 1-legged dinosaur coming at you instead. The mechanism overall is pretty good, but I find that it actually gets stuck quite a bit, especially when you're pushing pressure, not downwards. So just pushing forward or just pushing backwards, I find it can either get stuck on top or it can just skip the stud completely, but that might just be me. Just a little nitpick. Overall, I think it's still pretty good. They had a bunch of these leaf elements from like trees and other bigger sets in LEGO to kind of cover it and make it look more like a tree or like an underbrush type thing. They also had these cheese slopes on the sides, these gray ones, so that it looks more like a rocky structure as well, holding it up. Now we're going to move on to the arguably more important part of the set, which is the truck, or the fortified truck, as you can see. This thing is actually pretty beefy when you look at it, and to be honest, I think it actually looks really good. It's about the size of a modern day LEGO City vehicle, or as you can see in this, double the size of a past LEGO City vehicle. I think this thing's from like 2011 or so. When you put it next to a Speed Champions, it looks insanely outmatched and undersized. Necessarily, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just something to note. Well, if you look at the old Speed Champions, which are only 6 stud wide, it actually looks pretty in sync with what they're supposed to look like. Fortunately, they never made a truck in this size, so I don't really have a great comparison, but here's this Charger. So starting with the cabin of the truck, it's pretty decently sized. It can fit 2 minifigures pretty well. The dad will sit down normally, and then you just have to take Isabella and just use her legs since they don't bend, considering they're the child legs. There's also this cool dyno analysis system, which is what I'm going to call it because I don't know the real name of it, but it shows a raptor on it, although this is a sticker and not a printed piece. Overall, you get the idea though. There's a radar, and it's supposed to be depicting that there's a raptor there somewhere hiding behind the brush. On the back of the vehicle, there's actually room for this device to sit in the back pretty comfortably, and then you can also put Doris back there beside you because you all want to take her around wherever you're going. Now, if you have the bigger set with the Quetzalcoatlus and the Spinosaurus, you can actually take the DNA briefcase and put it on the back in place of either of these 2 items. I'm not sure if LEGO intended this, but they must have because it fits perfectly. The only downside to this set is that it has quite a few stickers compared to printed pieces. Although you will see this Jurassic Park sticker on the front is actually a printed piece, which is really nice to see. Some of the stickers placed really well are this 05 sticker, which actually looks insanely well, considering this is a black brick, not actually 3 separate bricks, but you wouldn't be able to tell just looking at it. Downside of this is that if you put the sticker down wrong, then you're screwed. Some of the details on this truck, the ones I like the best, are actually the roll cage that are on the front and the back of the cabin. It just makes the set look a little more 3D and rugged than it would be otherwise. They also did a really good job on the grill, especially with these clear 1x1s to use as headlights. And underneath you can see where it's kind of supposed to be like a beefier bumper on the front, especially for off-roading. On each side there's a clip for storage. One side usually you'd put a syringe in there, or the flare gun fits pretty well too. The other side you put the tranquilizer gun, and there's a dart already on top of it. Moving to the back, we've already gone over the storage, so then there's just the bumper on the back, which is kind of a replica of the front, except there's no headlights obviously. Then on the top we have the rest of the roll bar and 2 more lights on top, just so you can see that Raptor in the dark. On the side with these 1x2s, you make a kind of step bar so that you can get up and down from your new vehicle. Something not included in the set is on the back there's actually a tow hitch, so if you have any Lego City boats, or even Jurassic World trailers for that matter, you can hook this up to the back and run around with these. Overall, I think this set is actually pretty good, and we're going to rank it out of 5 different things: price, minifigs, builds, build process, and fun. Fun just being like the overall score basically, but you get the idea. So first off we have the price. This price is $45 Canadian, and I wouldn't pay that much. However, I did get it on sale for Prime Days, because who didn't buy something on Prime Days, let's be honest. 285 pieces, the price is pretty high, and even for $35, which is what I paid for it, I still think it's pretty high, but I think that roughly averages to about $27 US. So in that regards, I guess it's not too bad. Basically, you have to consider that there's a dinosaur tax with all these sets. Every time there's a molded dinosaur, it's going to be more expensive. So overall, I don't think it's that bad. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. We're going to move on to the minifigures, which I'm going to include the dinosaurs in this because I don't feel like having a whole other section for them. Minifigures are all right. Isabella and the dad needed to be in one set, and if it's going to be in anything, this does make the most sense. Doris is pretty cool, but it's such a small piece that I'm not going to let it weigh too heavily on this. But it's a pretty cool thing to add, so I'm going to give them props for that. Finally, we have the Velociraptor, and I don't think this is nearly as good as the old ones we used to get. Having said that, for what it is, I think the Raptor's coloring makes it shine, and it looks pretty good altogether. Considering all the minifigures, I think I give them a 7 out of 10 in total. Next we have the builds, and I actually think these builds are really good. The truck is actually really good. I'd argue it's nearly better than the one in the Quetzalcoatlus and Spinosaurus set. And I think the ambush is actually a really cool idea, especially because you can put other things there, and they have room just not for the Raptor, but you can put minifigures there or whatever you really want to. Overall, I think I give the builds in the set an 8 out of 10, which I think is pretty fair. For the build process, I think that's also going to get an 8 out of 10 because it's also done pretty well. And I mean, it's pretty standard. It's just a truck and then a pretty cool mechanism at that point. If you're enjoying the video, why don't you let us know which set you'd like to see next? A new set or an old set, we'll try our best to get it done. Next up, we have the fun, or really it's just the overall rating. So in terms of fun, I think you get a 7.5 out of 10. I do recommend picking this set up, but only if it's on sale. I don't think the $45 price tag or 35 USD is really worth it. But they go on sale often and all the time, so you can pick it up anytime you really want to. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, so please let me know. Would you buy this set? Would you not? What do you think they did good? What do you think they did bad? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to this channel because at 1,000 we have a special announcement, which may or may not be a giveaway, but we'll have to let you know later. Thank you for those that tuned in and made it to the end. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.